is having a wonderful day and evening with their family. For those of us who cannot be with our family because of COVID, prayers out to you. I know it's hard, but I hope you're enjoying your day. And thank you so much for tuning in once again to 15 Minutes of Fame with Dawn Branch. Tonight, we have a special edition of 15 Minutes of Fame. I've started a new program with one of my mentors, Obadiah Wright. What we want to do is honor the legacy of our mentor, Bernice Johnson. She started me in dance in Queens, New York, many, many years ago. She has fed into many lives of many, many professionals. And her birthday is actually November 22nd. So it was actually Mr. Obadiah Phillips Wright's idea to pay her respect on her birthday for Thanksgiving and to honor her. So we are here today, along with another mentor of mine, Miss Nasha Thomas. She is the national director of the Ailey Camp and other things which we'll find out about later on. So what Obadiah and I hope to do is to bring people, the alumni from Bernice Johnson's, in possibly once a month so we can just talk and fellowship about the experience and all the wonderful things that Bernice Johnson has given to the dance society in the dance world. So before we get started, you know I have to thank our sponsors. So I'd like to thank In Style Performance Wear in Orlando, Florida. I'd like to thank All Things Centered Essential Oils. I'd like to thank TGI Virtual Fundraiser, Deliverance Travels, and we have a new sponsor, that's Entertainment Performance Arts Competition. So that's a dance competition, and we'll learn more about that later on. So before we get started, you know I like to get down with it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Obadiah Philip Wright and Miss Nasha Thomas. Yes.
Hello.
I had to do that. That's a BJ song. Welcome.
You trying to get us up dancing.
Welcome, Nasha Thomas. This is like legacy. I'm like fanning out, guys. So excuse me. I like look up to them so much. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on and being a part of this.
Thanks for having us.
Yes. So before we get started, once again, I want to just say thank you, Obadiah Philip Wright, for coming up with this idea to thank Bernice Johnson, and hopefully we can do it on a regular basis. So I want to say thank you for that. I think it's an awesome idea. Thank you, Nasha Thomas, for taking the time out. I know you're like crazy busy to come in and share your experiences with us. So thank you.
Anything for my DJ family.
Yes. Yay. Yes. Okay, so I want to get started with Sir Obadiah, if you don't mind. Who is Obadiah Philip Wright?
Obadiah is, first of all, hi everybody. Let me just go back and say Bernice Johnson has impacted so many lives, and the legacy that we come from is incredible, and there are very few arts organizations that have a legacy of students that are branching out and doing all kinds of things that are some arts related, some not, but I mean we're really well steeped in so many areas, and all of us pretty much sit in prominent positions of leadership, which I think is a very interesting thing about the legacy, and because we were all taught leadership things at a young age, so all of us are teachers or mentors or directors or the head of something. So I wanted people to just know that we got that training from a really young age, and that we can use that in our everyday business life at this point. So what Obadiah has is a director, choreographer, master teacher, producer, actor, singer. That's it.
Welcome. Well, that's it. That's a lot. Welcome to the show. Now, Miss Nasha Thomas. Who is Miss Nasha Thomas? I'm fanning out.
Oh, Wow. Well, currently, as you said, I'm the National Director of Ailey Camp, but I'm also the spokesperson and master teacher for arts and education at the Alvin Ailey Foundation. I'm the mother of two young adults and a mentor for young people that are interested in the arts and love to dance and just trying to figure out who they are and what they want to do with their lives.
Amen. That's awesome. And you're mine too. I don't have to be young. I'm old, but I still think consider you as a mentor to me. Okay, so we're going to start with you, Sir Obadiah, about Bernice Johnson. Now, can you describe what she was to you? Now, we know what she did for everyone else, but for you personally, how would you describe Bernice Johnson?
She was um, she was a person that I had so much respect for, and she always pushed me past where I thought I could go. I was lucky. She gave me a scholarship when I was maybe 12, 13 years old. So it was a life changing experience being at the studio watching the older dancers and the younger dancers. Because when I got there, I could not do anything of what I was looking at that was going on around me. I was like pasta that just came out the pot. I was just like sliding all over the place. It wasn't pretty at all. So it took a while for me to get that together. But she was very demanding, very loving, and she was motherly to me. She was very motherly. And I
Thank you.
can't thank her enough for what she did for me.
Beautiful. And Miss Nasha Thomas, same question.
DJ was a phenomenal woman. You know, I look at where I am now and the life skills that she taught us. At the time, we didn't know that they were things that we would carry with us for the rest of our lives. How to be responsible for learning a step, for mastering a step, for being a part of a team, being accountable to your classmates, for working hard, for having a strong work ethic, for that audition and maybe not getting it, but not giving up and going back and to continuing to push yourself. And she exposed us to everything possible. She brought everybody that was doing something in the dance world, in the arts world, into that studio. We had charm school lessons and we did gymnastics. We did everything. And that's something I think that is one of the most important things that I took from her as an educator. At that time, we didn't call her an educator. She taught us how to survive, and how to thrive in this world, how to remake yourself if you needed to, if something wasn't working, how to do something, but also never to give up and always to give back, which is what Obadiah was saying. We are a small community, and I always remember going to auditions or meeting other dancers, and when they heard that we were, it was a whole nother attitude and a level of respect that we got, and also a little bit of fear because they knew the BJ people could
It was a lot of fear.
watch out.
It was a lot of fear.
Yeah, she was a phenomenal woman, a phenomenal woman, and not
So
always, not always easy,
we're gonna get to that. We're
but she
gonna
kept
get
it
to that.
real.
Before we go there, I'd like to take a look at some photos of each of you while you were either at Bernice Johnson's or even in your professional life, so the audience can take a look. So let's start with Mr. Obadiah. Let's see what we have, and then explain each picture for the audience, please. Aw.
Um,
Oh,
early, I was signed to a modeling agency called American Boys, and I did like print ads for like Sears and Roebuck and Scholastic magazines and Mike Field's young children's models. And then I got into high school. I got skipped, and then the modern teacher sent me to Bernice Johnson. So these are I'm hosting one of the Bernice Johnson alumni reunions. This one in the gold, I was choreographing a summer intensive. The photographer said, come out on the roof and take pictures. And Bernice Johnson always says, you have to be ready. So that's how that happened. Um, the other ones were taken by Tobias Truvillion, who was on Empire. He said, I'm in town, just come, let me shoot you. And that's how that happened. So again, we were always taught to be ready. Always be prepared. Always have your sheet music, toe shoes, tap shoes, have everything possible so that you can always be ready. So that's how that happened.
Okay.
And I still don't play baseball well. This was from a television show that I choreographed in Nagoya, Japan, featuring Dionne Warwick, Ray Charles, Manhattan Transfer. So I got to bring maybe 8 dancers from New York. So I assisted them with costume design for the dancers. I negotiated the contracts and I paid them myself so basically I was a New York producer of that event. This
Ooh.
is Forrest Whitaker. Of course, I was working on Black Nativity for Fox Searchlight Pictures as assistant choreographer, and that was Angela Bassett, Jennifer Hudson, Nas, Mary J. Blige, and 8 of the most phenomenal dancers and 25 singers you'd ever want to see.
Wow.
That's Miss Debbie. That is for a benefit she did for dancers to pay tribute to dancers that had passed away from AIDS. So I hadn't seen her in a while. So I was like, let's take this picture together. And because before Fame, I used to dance with her with Otis Salid. So that's how I actually got to meet Debbie long before Fame was actually happening. And I'm an original Fame kid also.
Yes, you are.
This is our mentor. This is Baba Lee Ako Thompson. He was Bernice Johnson's right hand and left hand, and he was the one that mentored us artistically and culturally. So when we were 12, 13, and 14 years old, we would dance to drums, but he would also sit us down and talk about Egypt and talk about the pyramids and talk about fasting and talk about herbs and talk about all kinds of spiritual and cultural things that we needed to help us. Bernice Johnson was also very rich in African American culture. They had
Hmm.
cotillions for the young ladies. So whereas they had coming out balls, so to speak, but they were African cotillions. So the debutantes had on gowns, but the young men we had on dashikis, and it was to drums. And we had them at places like Le Cordon Bleu, which was a very expensive hall to rent. So you're looking at this black woman without funding that took her kids to these very expensive ballrooms and
Yeah.
taught young ladies and young men etiquette and what it was like to escort a young lady, what it was like to handle a young lady, and what it was like to be a young black male in your dashiki and being very proud of your cultural self. We did our recital concerts at Avery Fisher Hall and Carnegie Hall. There were not many black people or black schools that got to do those kind of things. So we were in Carnegie Hall at 13, 14, 15 years old doing our recital concerts. No funding. So she did this single-handedly, and so these black families supported her business. And that's one of the things that made her special.
Ooh.
This is at one of the Bernice Johnson alumni reunions. I was the host and the MC.
Okay.
That music is loud.
Okay, I think that was the last one for you. Thank you for sharing those. Okay,
My
Miss
pleasure.
Nasha, you're up. Let's see what we have for you. Oh, is that a
Oh,
cheerleading
back in the
costume?
day,
So
Dallas
talk about
Cowboys
this.
cheerleader. Well, I was in college, and there was was announced on the radio, and Bernice Johnson taught us to always go to audition, whether it wasn't about getting know anything about football, didn't know anything about sports, but I was excited to go to this audition, and I went and I became a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. I was on their special dance team. They had a small group of dancers, and we did special shows. But yeah, I was out there on the field with the Cowboys in pom poms and little teeny
And never
shorts and,
trained at
white
all.
go-go boots.
Bernice Johnson training at its finest. Never did a pom pom.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
no pom pom, no kick lines, but I did it then.
I remember when you
And you
got
know
that.
what? It is for a long time after I just was a cheerleader one season. I never talked about it, and it was a very dear friend of mine who passed away a few years ago who would always say that this was my first paying gig. This was my first professional gig, and I never really saw it that way. We made $15 a game, but it wasn't that I wasn't proud of it. I just didn't talk about it. Being a dancer with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, it was like, who wants to hear that I was a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader? But I tell you, when I went out, it was the thing that all the guys wanted to hear. Everybody's husband was like, oh, you were a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. And it is, it's America's team. They're not doing great right now, but they're coming back. They're coming back. Yeah, it was
I have to tell
a great time in my life.
we heard it from Kevin Hunt, which Obadiah will probably do another show about him, if that's okay. He was so proud. Oh my God. It was like, you know how he does this laugh? You know how he does that? And he sat us down and he told everyone that you needed, and we were all so proud of you. So we thought it was like Broadway, so we didn't get it. But okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm standing out. Keep going. Oh,
that is Alvin Ailey's Solo Cry, choreographed on Judith Jamison. I performed the back. One of the hardest pieces I've done in my life, taught by Judith Jamison, coached by Judith Jamison, and just a wonderful experience. My first performance was in to see, and Michael Jackson was performing at Wembley Stadium, and we went to see him as well. It was pretty cool. Really an honor to get to do that.
So
ballet.
how long were you in the company before you were able to? And did you get audition? Do you audition for this, or do you just get chosen for the part?
No, you just get chosen. You just get chosen. I danced with the company for 12 years. I've been at Ailey since 1986, so this is my 34th year, and never knew that I'd be doing this, and still there for 34 years. I had a wonderful performing career, and did every role possible. Wasn't always first cast, and as BJ said, it wasn't about being the first. It's not about being the best, but about having the opportunity. So
yeah, awesome.
the cry was a beast to do, and just a great sense of accomplishment after that curtain came down and you got your 24 roses for a 15-minute performance.
Amazing. Wow, look at that.
Chelsea's Bells, choreographed by Barry Martin, who was a BJ alum as well, passed away several years ago. Alvin Ailey, this company was open. It was a repertory company, and he gave Barry Martin the opportunity to come and choreograph. And this was a duet. The costume is a little risque, but again, another wonderful piece to do. And it was wonderful working with my BJ company member.
Well, coming back from that Dallas Cowboy outfit, it's all about the same.
I don't know about me and that.
Those shorts were like, okay, what else?
Yeah, and the uniform is made on you, for you. It's tailor made. We have a seamstress that makes everybody's costumes. It's another picture. We were doing a telethon, and that's the kind of things we did. During the week, I was in my Horton classes and my ballet classes and my jazz classes at SMU, Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. And on the weekends, I was out on the field when the Cowboys were home, playing at home.
$15 a game, no paid rehearsal.
You had to be employed. You had to have another job, could be part-time or a full-time student. It was not something that was, thought to be used for survival.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
that is Obadiah. That's probably the last reunion where you had on that
That's
green
the
outfit.
last
That was
reunion.
me at the
Oh,
reunion,
that
looking at
one.
a photo montage that had been out just on display with pictures of BJ and old studio members. It's always wonderful to get together to come and celebrate who we
Yes.
were and all that we did and celebrate BJ.
So after COVID is over, I guess Obadiah, you'll start to get everybody back together again. And yes.
Well, the edges actually do that. Nasha helps out. I help out. We all try to, help out to do those kind of things. I wanted to jump back to Nasha and the pom poms. She might not have had pom poms before, but Bernice Johnson always gave us props.
Yes.
We danced
Yes.
with everything. We did roller skates, played xylophones, little toy guns. We had hats, we had chains. So we were used to handling things. So that's why when you got there with the pom poms, it was
That's the
easy
truth.
for you. We were all really, really proud of you. And BJ was very, very
Oh, thank
braggadocious
you.
about
It
that
was
picture.
huge. It was a huge,
Yes,
Yeah.
huge.
yes. She
And
talks
it's
about it all
it's
the time.
she taught us all to support each other,
Mhm.
and I travel now and I'll run into somebody that is somebody's child or somebody that, didn't really know me personally, but they know my face and they know that I'm from Bernice Johnson. And immediately you embrace them and you know that you are family. It's a
Yep.
wonderful feeling.
If I could,
Wonderful feeling. BJ
another
took us
proud
to see
moment.
Ben Vereen. Ben Vereen was from the studio, had studied at the studio, and we went to see his performance somewhere outside of New York, and we spent the night, and it was really wonderful. BJ exposed us to everything, and I think really groomed us to be citizens of this world. We knew how to
I
act
agree. And I have to
and
just
conduct
tell you
ourselves.
one more thing about another accolade you have, which we didn't talk about yet. But when you received the Presidential Scholar Award, oh my God, you would have
Yes.
thought. I mean, you had your face in the paper. Kevin came in, showing everybody. I mean, so talk a little bit about that. What was that experience like?
It was the first year that the presidential scholars had been open to the arts. It was an academic national recognition prior to 1980, and there were 12 artists that were recognized in dance, music, theater, and visual arts, and I was one of the 12. And we had a ceremony at the White House. The medallion is on my dresser in my bedroom. My mother just gave it back to me. She had it all these years. And my son just asked me yesterday, "What is this thing here?" And BJ came. We had a ceremony at the White House. It was unbelievable. I don't think about it a lot now, but all of these things that we were able to accomplish really were because of BJ. We were never
Absolutely.
afraid to try something. We were never afraid to, the fear was in not trying. So we went out for everything, and she supported us, which was really really wonderful. But yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was that was great.
So over the, I don't know to call you Baba Over. How do you want me to? Because
Baba,
yeah.
Obadiah, just
Okay, so Baba, we already
yes,
know that
baby.
you came to BJ's around. How old were you again?
I was 12, 13
Uh,
years old.
right. Okay, but we didn't find out about Nasha. How did you find BJ's?
Wow, my mother put me in dancing school. I was 3 years old, and we lived in Astoria. And the studio was on Sutphin Boulevard in Jamaica, Queens. So we had to drive in every Saturday. And my cousin Charisse went to the studio as well. And it's funny. It was one of those things that we did on Saturdays. It was part of our Saturday ritual. We all went to dance class, and then I would go and hang out with my cousins after dancing school, and I'd go and watch the Tom Jones show when I got back home. And it was a part of our culture, and that's all I did. That's all I knew was dancing, and it was a family. And I went from the baby class to the little pro to the junior pro. You have a junior pro picture that you see me in, and it was community. So we learned at a very early age about bonding and doing fun things and enjoying being a child and enjoying training. And that's something that I think a lot of dancers don't do today. It's all about getting the leg up and how many turns can you do. But we were trained, and we understood that the craft was something to be respected, and we should always strive to be the best.
Amen. You mentioned Sutter. So Obadiah, how many? Like I went. I was there on Merrick by the bus terminal.
The bus, right? The bus terminal.
But Obadiah, where? Like, how many locations did she have altogether?
When I came, we were at right by the bus terminal. And
Okay.
when I got off the J train, actually, Kevin Hunt was the one that gave me directions how to get to the studio. So I got off the J train, and as I was walking towards the studio down Merrick Boulevard, you could hear the drums. We were one of the few places where you had a class where there were maybe like 10, 11, 12 drummers playing in one class.
Yeah.
So there was a thunder. There were tap shoes in one room. There were all these drums, and you know what I mean. And then there was Michael Peters screaming over the music in another room. It was just like a potpourri of just black, fantastic art going on all at one time under one roof. The building would be shaking because
Yes.
we were
You know, she
dancing
started
so
in her
hard.
basement.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
She
So
started teaching in her basement. And from her basement, I believe the first studio was on Sutphin Boulevard, and then she was on Merrick by the bus terminal, and then there was the other location. So I think I've been to three. I think I had
wow.
studied at three.
And
And
she
I've been
ended up
to
purchasing the last one, right?
Mm.
Is that she purchased that whole building?
Right. Right.
Do you know how with the square footage, like what that? Does anyone know what it's huge? It was huge.
No, but she was a
it was
businesswoman. You said that.
Yeah.
She was a businesswoman, and she taught us you do not mix business and friendship. They should
Okay.
remain separate. So, and that's something that I learned in Obadiah. You probably come across that in your work too.
absolutely.
You can be good, good friends with someone, but the business has to be right. And sometimes you're not on the same terms about business, and it should affect your friendship. And that's something she taught us. She taught us a lot about life, and life through dance and life through actual events. We performed, we went out, and when we went out and danced, we had to know how to conduct ourselves, and so that when we left, people talked about how fabulous we were and how well behaved we were as young children and young adults.
So how would you say like explain? You said she taught you that. So give me like three examples of things that she would do with you, well, as a student, and let's say Obadiah as a teacher to make you excellent. Like what was some things that she would say to say, no, here at Bernice Johnson we do it this way, or and this is why. Like give me examples.
Nasha.
Obi?
So let's
Uh,
do Obadiah as the teacher.
I'm gonna let you go
Once
first.
you were a teacher, what was her?
okay. First of
Yes.
all, she started me teaching when I was 15, 16 years old. I was student teaching. We
Yeah.
all started student teaching in our
Yeah.
early teens. So once you got to maybe the junior, senior pro, then you would help the other teachers with the babies. Or you would go in to just learn what the machinery was to just move bodies and make patterns. So I would come in on Saturdays at 10 o'clock, and I stayed with her for 3 hours teaching about 85 3 to 6 year old children. They had ballet, they had African, and they had tap. And then once she saw that I could handle them, she left me alone with them. And the thing that she said was, if you learn how to teach, you'll always have a job.
Mm.
Amen.
And she said, if you can teach babies, you can teach anybody. So I have gone from teaching the 3 to 6. At that level, I can teach special needs kids. And then Nasha, the company was in Japan at the same time I was there doing master classes. I ran into Nasha. Nasha said,
Mm.
"Come and teach company class come and teach the company." So thank you, Nasha, because that was my opportunity to go and teach the Vanelli Dance Company while I was in Japan. So that's how we stayed connected to one another, and that's the professionalism and the respect that we have for one another. Because she's not going to bring me in there if I don't know what I'm doing, or if she doesn't feel like I'm at a certain level. So those are the kind of things that we look out for one another, where we take care of one another, and then when we call someone, we make sure that whomever we call is at in the most pristine positioning to do what it is they have to do. So she prepared us for every possible aspect of who we are: communication skills, how to count money, costuming,
Yes.
lighting, how to not let anybody talk to you any kind of way, always to be walk into the room, be a lady, walk into the room and be a gentleman, and command a certain amount of respect from a young age. She did that because we watched her do it.
When you
Great.
said she taught you how to teach, you could go into anybody's studio that has a dance studio that's from Bernice Johnson, and you'll see a 10 or 11-year-old warming up the class. That's their
Right.
class, but they're warming up the class or warming up somebody else's class. I can't remember. I went to Isoda several years ago, and some little girl was warming up the class. It just made me laugh because, you know, you could do it. And she taught us, it doesn't matter if you're in the back. If you're in the back line, they can see you. So you better dance like you're in the front line. Don't worry about where you are. And a man was never supposed to drop a girl on stage. You better hold on to her ponytail, but you better never let her hit the floor. Those are kinds, and for the girls, you were never to hit him in his private area. So whatever you were
Right.
doing, you better find out someone, and these are things that nobody else taught, their children. There was teaching steps. She taught us how to be good people, and how to work together, how to respect each other. I tell my staff that I work with now, you don't have to like the people you work with, but you should like working with them because they're doing their job. And that's that kind of business personal thing that, she taught us. It really is about doing the work. If you do the work, people will follow you. And when we didn't do the work, we got spanked, right, Obadiah? She had Uncle Blackie, Uncle
Dude.
Brownie. She had the
Yeah.
ba stick. I mean, it was, oh my gosh. But when we did well and we practiced and we came in and we knew the step that we learned last week, we went and got ice cream. So there was a whole way of cultivating us and nurturing us to get what she wanted. And when she was kind of grooming me to step in a leadership role, she taught me that you had to manage people with what she called kid gloves. So you might have to reprimand them, but you're going to tell them something good first that they're doing. And uh, she, you wonder where does somebody get that from? And the BJ people are very, very different from everybody else out in this world that we're working in. As Obadiah said, no matter what field you're in, whether you're in finance, whether you stayed in the arts, whether you are a cook, whatever it is, you have all of those teachings, all of those things that stay with you.
You are head of the class.
Excellent answers.
I just want to say this one thing.
Yes.
Said one of the things that she taught, especially for men, was that she really insisted that men be strong. She made sure of that. And she used to talk about Alvin and how Alvin would move his body. She would talk about him so much. And because, Alvin used to come out to the school. Arthur Mitchell came out to teach class. We had Miguel Guadro. Judith Jameson came out to teach class. We had every dancer that was the cream of the crop come out and work with us as children. Marshall Romaine came out to work with us. So we had all kinds of people. And then when people that had
Frank
left school
Hatchett.
and that were, yes, but Chuck Davis, but those were all her students.
Chuck.
So they would come back and teach us. They would teach the new ones. So when we're out working, we come back to the school and we're teaching. So it was this wonderful
Yeah.
cyclical process of love over and over and over again. And the family, like my two best friends, I met when I was 13 years old at Bernice Johnson. So that's like Nasha, that's like you and Donna. I mean, they're freaking
Mm-hmm.
frack since they
Yeah.
were babies. So those
Tell
kind
Johnny
of,
to come on the show. Sorry.
okay, that would be great. But those kind of bonds, even though we go separate ways, we live in different cities, we live in sometimes different
Mm.
countries, that bond has never has never changed. It's never
It's
changed. And as we
lifelong.
get older, it gets stronger and deeper. And that's the richness of what I want people to understand about who we are as alumni of Bernice Johnson and what this legacy is about and why it's such a phenomenon and why we're so different, as Nasha says, and why we like to succeed. We had to. We weren't allowed, we didn't have an option
You had to.
to do anything, but we didn't have an option. We weren't allowed to rely on just legs and feet extensions. We had to have expression. We had to have everything. And then we danced on big, big stages. So we had to learn how to project that energy from a kid. So we were every place. We danced in prisons, libraries, block parties. We had all kinds of exposure to all kinds of people and all kinds of situations. So the more you do that, the more well-rounded you are as a performer, and the more well-rounded you become as a human being. And having a classmate with you that does that, it does give you a certain kind of confidence,
Mm-hmm.
je ne sais quoi, for lack of a better word. Yeah.
So Nasha had Donna. You mentioned you had two best friends. Who were they?
That's Kevin Iega, Jeff, and George Bellinger.
Awesome. Well, we know we love. You know how I feel about Ada as well. So you mentioned some. Nasha, I want to go to you. Can you give me three people that have excelled in any business, whether it's Broadway, TV, whatever, from BJ's that the common person might know, not a dancer. Like if you say their name, they'll be like, "Oh, I know."
Michael Peters, Valerie Pettiford. I already said Ben Vereen, Candy Alexander on CSI Miami. We're everywhere. Obadiah,
Ashanti,
you
You
probably
said
have
a
some more,
few,
but
but I'm
those are
sure
my
Obadiah knows some more.
Ashanti.
Ashanti, Mob Deep,
Ashanti.
Prodigy.
Yeah.
Prodigy.
Right.
Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
Mm-hmm.
right?
BJ's grandson. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he just had a birthday. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, as you can see, anyone who's listening, the dance school, known as the studio.
Edgar Gardner. Yeah.
Oh, Edgar. Yeah, he's gonna come on the show, and I'm trying to get
Okay.
Mama Sharon. We'll see what happens. Well, we're working on her to come on, but
You'll get
I
it.
mean, the school was just phenomenal, and I'm just so blessed that I had a chance to meet you guys and come. And I just want to say before we go to break, because I have to give a shout out to the sponsors, that one of the reasons I ended up coming to Bernice Johnson, because I used to go to Gloria Jackson. I saw you. You did Good
BJ
Guys
DJ.
at the concert, and that leg just kept going. You had your clown outfit on, and you were dancing. And I said, I want to go there. I would. So again, I probably tell you all the time, but I just want the world to know that it was that who were the good guys at the show that made me say I want to dance there. And we're still together. Look, it's like I saw you at 6, and at 6 years old, and you're still with me. So I'm gonna start crying.
We were talking about you. We knew that there was something very special about you when you were 6, 7 years old. We did. We talked about you. We all did. I remember myself, Vanessa Benton. We used to talk about you when you were a little kid.
Oh wow! Don't make me
Yeah.
cry. See, I'm crying. Go to commercial break. Okay, don't go anywhere, guys. I have to cry, and then I have to give a shout out to our sponsors. So just one moment.
Tonight's episode is sponsored by the following: TGI Virtual Fundraiser for Student Achievement Institute. Help them send 10 high school seniors to the program to help improve their college entrance exams, gain confidence, and strengthen their writing skills. Please donate GoFundMe/TGI Writing Fund. Next sponsors, All Things Centered, visiting allthingscentered.com and choose from a variety of essential oil blends, good for headaches, allergies, stress, and better moods. Get ready for your holiday shopping and order your foot scrubs and bath soaks for your favorite people in your life. Taking orders now at allthingscentered.com. Use code DANCE for free shipping. InStyle provides dance wear, dance space, and point shoe fitting. InStyle's November Special. Find us on Google, give InStyle thanks with a 5-star review, receive $5 credit on account. Next sponsor is Deliverance Travels. Are you looking to earn extra money and gain financial freedom and time? Become an independent travel agent and create financial freedom and travel the world. Take a chance and move on faith. To pursue this new business journey and help change lives one at a time, including yours, contact Rosalind Shepard or Yvonne Johnson Chuck at 347-206-3363. That's 347-206-3363 and gain your financial freedom. That's Entertainment. That's Entertainment is excited to celebrate 20 years this 2020 season. They are a competition and convention offering live and virtual events for dancers, singers, actors, models, and instrumentalists. By tuning in with Dawn Branch Live, you will receive a free virtual solo or $200 off your studio when you email info@that'sentertainmentpa.com with the code DBL20. Stephanie Mills presents Girls Night Out, a virtual vision board fundraiser party with special guest Melba Moore. Proceeds will benefit 444 Love Foundation. This special event is Saturday, December 12th. Info and tickets available at www.444love.org.
Well, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us again on this wonderful Thanksgiving evening. We're here with Baba Obadiah Phillip Wright and Miss Nasha Thomas, and we're here spreading joy about our mentor, Bernice Johnson. While we were on the break, we had a special guest surprise message for the both of you. Are you ready to find out who tuned in while we were on the break?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like surprises.
Okay.
She does, I don't.
And Kevin's going to. Dawn called today and asked me to reflect upon BJ Bernice Johnson and her profound legacy. This is from your best friend, Kevin Iega Jeff. What's most important to me is that her rich legacy lives in us all. The many students, the laughs, and the varying ways that we each chose to share our gifts with the world. Obadiah, can you read that?
I will. She has nurtured very special people who care about and understand the transformative powers of dance. Obadiah, Nasha, and Dawn are 3 very important products of Bernice Johnson's training. This broadcast platform provides a much needed opportunity to share how BJ influenced each of you in deeply personal ways. BJ's institutional vision lives in each of us, and I value any opportunity the family has to share about that legacy and its profound effects. May you continue doing great work, family. I love you all.
Awesome. Wasn't it a nice surprise? Oh,
That's
yeah.
great.
and it was so crazy because you mentioned his name. And I was like, you didn't mention his name. I'm like, could you mention his name to introduce to the audience? So that was funny. So thank you, Kevin Jeff, for being here with us. That was beautiful of you to chime in with us. So yeah,
Great
cheers.
surprise.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yes. Okay, so now let's see some more surprises. I want to see some video from Mr. Obadiah. Roll the tape. Let's see some dancing from
Hey,
Mike.
let's see what this.
Ooh.
Can I talk about this?
Yes.
Okay, that is me in the red. That is Derek Rice in the orange, and in the yellow, that is Janet Jackson. This is one of Fame's live concerts that we did at Jones Beach many years ago. Wow.
So you did the choreography and dance?
No. This choreography, Otis Salid did. Look at me, my gosh. And I got this particular, I was in the original movie, but once they got to the series, they were out in LA and they needed a replacement when they came into New York, and Eartha Robinson called me. So I had 3 days to learn 2 different shows. So again, Bernice Johnson training is what got me the job. Otis Salid had worked with me before from when I was a kid. He used to come out to Bernice Johnson's and teach us. So he knew me, and that's how I got the job.
Wow. I love Janet Jackson. I mean, I fan out with her.
Yes.
And Debbie Allen and Judith Jameson and Nasha Thomas. All of y'all. I just fan out. I'm like the biggest fan. Is that the only video that we have?
Yes, baby.
You just made me remember. I actually was working with Michael Peters. He choreographed the Pointer Sisters, and I was dancing with him and them when I got accepted into the Ailey Company, and we were at the same event. So I was in the Ailey Company, had signed my contract, but I was dancing with the Pointer Sisters. I hadn't joined the company yet. So it was a little bit of everything.
What are the rules?
That's how that works.
Like, are you allowed to do other things in between a contract, or how does that work at Ailey?
Yeah, you have to let the company know. They want to know what you're doing, but as long as it doesn't interfere with the work that you're doing. But I hadn't started dancing with the Ailey Company yet. I had just auditioned, had just been accepted by Mr. Ailey, and was doing this gig dancing with the Pointer Sisters. So I'm so excited, and they're doing Revelations, Rock of My Soul. It was crazy.
That's crazy. Awesome. You guys had such great opportunities. The training did it, the talent, but the training that BJ did is amazing. So Obadiah, do you have any other videos that you want to show us?
Yes. I'm going to share with you the project I worked on, Black Nativity. Once I finished working on the film version, I got a citation downtown Brooklyn from Eric Adams for something I had done. And one of the board members for the Crossroads Theater was this. He asked me would I be interested in working on Black Nativity, the show, which I had loved to do. So I wound up being associate producer, associate director, and choreographer. And then I called a friend of mine, R&B Grammy Award winner Tony Terry, and put him back in the show. So I'm going to show you that clip.
So now, as we're coming to the end of the show, I'm just I'm just in awe that I have you guys here. Just the amazing talent that you have. Bernice Johnson has really, really helped so many people just understand it's not just about the dance. Entertainment is a business. So who wants to take that on? Some of the sayings that she always had to say, like, it's a business, show business, it's a business. What other sayings did she have that you want to share with us? Obadiah?
It's
Today
not
a peacock, tomorrow a feather duster.
explain the metaphor of that.
Yeah.
Well, today you're a beautiful peacock with these feathers around and everybody loves you, and then you mess up and something goes wrong and they pluck that feather and then they're cleaning the house, dusting with it. So do not feel too high, about yourself. and be stuck up, because you could be up here today and tomorrow on a whole different level. And
Exactly.
she taught us to have some humility, and to not to be arrogant, and nothing is promised. So that was one of her very famous sayings, which kept you in line. You might be the lead in the ballet today, but here comes this new person, and oh, what, they are a little better than you, so take a seat.
Right.
And
Thank you. Obadiah?
enjoy the spotlight, Obadiah, when it's on you.
She had a couple of other sayings, but that was the key one. But what she would do at the beginning of the year, we'd come back in and she would say, okay, now we're going to separate the dancers from the would-be dancers. And we're going to separate the cream from the crop. And then she would say, start the music. And then the music would start. So then what she would do was she would make the younger class people go across the floor with the company members. And she would come to us and say, don't you let that old person outdance you. And then she would go to the company member and go, don't you let that little boy outdance you. So we had to keep up, and they had to let us not outdance them. So, but it kept everything at a healthy, feverish pitch. Yeah. And she would always say, it's not show business, it's the business of show.
The business of show. Thank you.
And the show is backstage.
This is one that she used to say that I didn't understand when I was younger, but the more you cry, didn't care if you cried. You got spanked, you got yelled at, you could cry. She was like, okay, then you don't have to go to the bathroom. And I didn't understand it when I was younger, but it's funny now. You see the little kids in class, you can keep crying. The more you cry, the less you pee.
Oh my
DJ had some saying. Buster, that was her word, right? Let me tell you, get your act together. And you need to go take
typing.
I don't think it was your thing.
Typing, yes.
Okay, my last question before we open it up to anything else that you guys wanted to share. I would like to know, what was your best and worst concert experience? I'm waiting to hear this. The best concert you ever had, and the worst where something went wrong or something was just like a hot mess.
For me, I think they were all great. As Obadiah said, I loved performing. Nobody else did it. You mentioned Gloria Jackson. I remember there was always that battle, BJ, GJ. And Gloria Jackson's performances were at that, some of them, maybe not all of them, I'm not going to say that, but at the movie theater on Jamaica Avenue. And I don't know what other theaters that, she performed at for her concerts, but BJ was always at Carnegie Hall. And I don't remember, 11 o'clock, Obadiah, if she paid from 8 to 11, 11:01, we were out of there because she wasn't paying that overtime. That was business. It was like, let's go. Well, that number's not going to be on tonight. You're not going to see it in the show. It was crazy. But I don't really have any
bad experiences. Okay.
Yeah.
You never forgot your costume. Nothing like, you didn't forget your backstage pass. You didn't have no drama. It was just all.
I don't think so, but you knew if you didn't have your costume, you weren't going on stage. So, if they had to have ballet slippers and your ballet slippers were left in the dressing room, well, then you missed the ballet piece. And if
I have
your costumes,
I have a funny one.
Yeah.
There was one, all the concerts were wonderful, but she would have these classes, like the beginner classes that had just started. So what she would do is she would take one of the more advanced students and put them in front of the class. So, and that's how a lot of times we learned to improvise, because we didn't really know what the music was. So she'd be like, Philip, they're dying, take it. And she'd throw you out there in front of them. So I'm doing this number one time, and so I'm dancing. So I can see in the wind, so everybody in the wind is going like this, calling me to the side, right? So I'm trying to dance whatever the song was. So I go to the wing. I'm like, what do you want? So BJ says, go get the little girl in the back because whatever I was wearing matched her. She left her costume home. So whatever I was wearing matched it. So I danced around to the back and got her in the back line. So her head was down. So I tapped her. I said, come with me. So she thought I was trying to take her off the stage. So I'm like, she's down like in the little dead swan thing. So I am literally dragging her to the music, trying to make her arm work or something and pulling her to the front. So then she was like fighting me with everything until she realized she was coming to the front of the stage. And then when she got up there with me, I said, okay, now turn around. So I told her to turn around. And then she looked in my eyes. She said, I can do the splits. I said, go ahead, baby. She did a split and she did a split and the audience applauded.
Oh my
So,
God, that
but
story.
she was fighting me tooth and nail because she thought I was pulling her off the stage. So the music, it was Overjoyed by Stevie Wonder. That's what it was.
Oh wow.
So he's singing and I am pulling her, trying to make her arm work something. And I'm literally like, but when she realized I was bringing her to the front, then she was like, she was the
She was like,
swan.
oh, okay.
She was the swan. So I turned her around. I went to pick her leg up. She went to pick her leg up. I said, no, 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 don't do that. I'll do that. And so then she looked in my eyes. She says, I can do the splits. I said, go ahead, dear. And she dropped down in her little split, feet all turned in. But she was so happy and so proud. And the audience applauded. Lights went down. And I went off in the wing. And BJ said, good job, good job. And that's it. And then next. So it's always those kind of
Yeah.
things. Always win-wins, always beautiful. You know, a heel would break, a costume would fall off. If your costume fell off, you could not leave it on the stage.
Right.
You better keep dancing.
That's right. You could not leave it on the stage. And those kids tapped, they had
better
tap
keep
boxes.
Yeah.
They had xylophones they had to tap dance with. She taught them how to play I Got Rhythm. You could not leave anything on that stage. If it fell off, you had to dance over, get it, and take it with you. You could not.
No
Your
break,
hat,
closing,
no.
show, just transitions were like so smooth. It was just,
Yeah.
I mean, she put
One
on,
thing, and the way she would put the show together, she would do the African classes in sequences. She would do the ballet in sequences. And then for people that didn't dance well, she would body paint them and put fabric on them. Because she was also a Cotton Club dancer. She was the only dark skinned one in the chorus line. So they called her Brown Sugar. So she had those showgirl tricks that she would do. So we got all kinds of training. We got all kinds of training. So she put silk around you just to dress the stage. And then she'd have people like do modeling things in the middle of the number. She painted a whole class gold. They had gold toe shoes, gold wigs, body paint, everything. Whatever costume you had on, your shoes were that color. If you had on a green costume, you had green shoes. You had on a red costume, you had on red shoes. So all night we were spray painting stuff. It was a full out
Dying tights.
Dying tights, rhinestoning things. She loved sequins, mirrors. It was a full Las Vegas Broadway production when we were children.
right.
And everybody was in it. Everybody, like you said, wasn't a strong dancer. And that's something that I tell my instructors that work in my Ailey camps. You know, they have some kids who are not as strong dancers as the other ones. And it really is not a pre-professional training program. And sometimes they want to put them off stage. I said, no, you better have them do something. You're going to be a tree. You're going to be in the back and you're going to be a tree. But you're going to be the best tree that you can be. But you have to be on stage.
That's right.
And you have to find something for them to do. So everybody was participated. Everybody was involved.
The adults danced, the parents danced, and it didn't matter what size you were, because we had some heavy sisters that they were hitting it and hitting it hard, and they loved what they did. Watching adults dance, the parents dancing, just they had an adult African, they had an adult jazz, they had an adult blues, they had everything, and these were people that. Benita Ellis's mom, all those people,
Fatima.
Barbara, they danced.
Yeah.
They danced.
Barbara Gray.
Barbara
it was community. It was all community.
Total.
Yeah.
And they watched
Didn't matter what age.
our careers evolve. They watched us from babies to
Yeah.
grown men and women to going out to choreograph and direct and produce and be the national director of the arts and education program at the Hourly American Dance. You know what I mean? They watched us do all these things. They watched me go to Japan. They watched Diego. They watched Valerie, and they're so proud of all of us, and we love them to this day. And they'll check us if they're older than us. They will check us.
And yep. You guys are brilliant.
And I don't know if I sent you any, Dawn, but I used to send postcards when I was in the company traveling. I would write younger students at the studio, Dana Ingram and Carrie. And I mean, people tell me that now. I don't remember, but being a mentor to those younger students is something that was very important. I went to SMU. Amy Higgins went to SMU. Dana Ingram went to SMU, and they went because I went, and I hadn't, known about SMU before I went there. So I looked up to it, and it was our duty. BJ taught us it was our duty to let those that were coming up behind us know about opportunities. We didn't have to have Obadiah don't have to hold an audition if he's doing a show. He called people up. I'm doing this show.
Right.
Come in. I want you in it, because we are all connected that way, and we all reach back and help the next.
That's right. And I know if I call them, they're going to deliver. So that makes my job easier, much easier. I did something for the 50th anniversary of the commemoration of the I Have a Dream speech in Times Square. So I had 75 dancers. I'd say maybe 10 of them I had never seen before in my life. Everybody else came from the Bernice Johnson alumni, from Isoda, from DeVore. So I called people. I said, just come on down. So that makes my job easy, because I got to worry about a camera crew. So I'm not, and I had 2 days to do that, and I had 75 people, and we shot it right at Times Square. So you don't have time for someone that doesn't understand blocking it. You don't have time. So you call somebody from that Bernice Johnson legacy, they're going to make your job easier. And that's what you want.
And she taught us to not take anything personally. So as national director, I come in at the end for production with my New York and Newark camp. So during the camp time I'm in, I say hello. Then, hi, Miss Nasha, but showtime, I'm the crazy woman. And they know they will get thrown out. So if you're not doing it right, or you're not giving 100%, you're going to be in the back, or, people are going to be moved around. And that's something that she taught us to. They think I'm crazy when it comes to showtime, but it is about excellence. And it's about putting the best forward and you doing your best. And you can't give anything else. It's unacceptable. I tell my kids, there are people that don't have arms. You mean you can't straighten your arm? That's stuff we learn from BJ.
Right.
To be happy that you can do it.
That's right.
Why would you not do it?
So, guys, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you want? I guess I'm gonna start with Nasha so that Obadiah can end. Is there anything that you want to say to the world about your BJ experience that we haven't covered yet?
Just to strive to be the best, to do the best, to always give back, to have pride. That was something, a big thing that she taught us, to be proud of who you are and what you have to offer, and to be humble, and she was very special. She is missed, but she is also very, very present in all of us that have learned and worked with her. So it's nice to be able to talk about her.
Yeah.
Thanks, Obadiah. Great idea.
Listen, I've taught all over the place, different countries all over America, and there are very few organizations that had what we had and have what we still have now. Nasha and I don't talk all the time, but you see, it's just there's a certain flow, there's a certain love that still remains intact. I don't see you all the time, Dawn, but there's a certain spirit that she instilled. There's a certain seed that she instilled and planted in all of us, and that Akko planted in all of us. That's the seed of excellence. It's the seed of culture. It's the seed of self pride, and it's the seed of self respect. And I can't,
And giving.
everything that I've done, and yes, and returning, keeping that circle of giving, looking out for one another, and we look out for one another, not just in the dance. Well, because as we've gotten older, we've lost people. So we are places of comfort for one another. Um, just all of those life supporting things have come out of the love of this one woman. So she's with me every single day. I look at a picture every day. I miss her every day, and I laugh at her and laugh with her every day. And I'm so grateful that this is happening, because I've been wanting the world to know about how special she is, how dynamic the legacy of the alumni is, and how powerful this alumni is. And I want people to know that if they're dancing and they're not finding happiness in what they're doing, that there are ways that you can be happy and do this, because we found that there. And that's one of the most important things that I want to begin to manifest from this project, from this process.
We see.
And I love you
And
both.
also as young Black children, she showed us by example what it
Yes.
was to have something. She had beautiful fine cars and furs and clothes and jewelry. And she had them because she worked. She worked hard. It was really about a strong work ethic. And that is something that a lot of our young people today don't have. It's just about they want it quick. They don't want to put in the work, and they want to, be recognized and to be given the parts without putting in the work. And it does they don't go together like that. You got to
It
work.
does
You
not.
have to work, and you can have.
Beautiful.
I
Well,
would
as we
love, I would
um,
love how at the beginning of the show she's backstage in her jeans, and at the end of the show she comes out in a full, beautiful
yes,
sequin
yeah,
gown,
Yeah.
just looking phenomenally beautiful, phenomenally Black, and phenomenally Bernice Johnson.
yeah.
Every single show.
She
And
gave me one
so,
of those gowns.
She
oh
did.
wow,
Yeah,
wow.
I wore. She gave me several of them, and I wore one at an A-League gala. Girl,
Hmm, that's so
I have to see if
awesome.
I can find the picture.
I was
Yeah.
gonna, that was coming next. Please send that in. I was gonna say when we do this again, wear it. I was gonna say to put it on.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, guys, it was so great sharing this time and this memory with you. If anybody wants to get in contact with either one of you, Nasha, I guess you go first. How would people get in contact with you?
Thomas@alvanelli.org.
And
And I'm on
Obadiah.
Facebook.
Oh, you're on Facebook.
Yes.
Obadiah, you have anything?
balancebaba@gmail.com. I am on Facebook, but I don't have any more room. Um, Instagram. Fine, you can reach out to me on Instagram.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So are you guys are available for lectures, master classes, workshops, what have you? Is this yes? Is this
I'm available for
Yeah.
lectures,
Nasha's like,
master
I'll talk.
directorial
I'll talk
projects.
myself out of a hat. But I don't teach too much.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Obadiah does a lot of teaching, and I don't choreograph at all. I have no interest in it.
You're such a fabulous choreographer. I remember all the stuff you did for us.
Listen, that was way back in the day.
Okay.
and I enjoyed it then. But my thing now, I love, like Obadiah said, I love talking. I love
Mhm.
inspire young people, and just sitting down and having a cool chat. Nobody does that anymore, and you don't know something unless somebody shares it with you. It's all about
Exactly.
sharing our experiences. So yeah.
Well, I thank you guys once again. Before we leave, Obadiah, would you just send us off with a nice, beautiful prayer, please, if you don't mind?
Wow. Yes. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the blessing of this day and for the blessing of this union, of this legacy, the blessing of my sister Nasha and my baby sister Dawn, and for the blessing of Brother Kevin, who is working and making all of this go together. We thank you for the blessing of Thanksgiving, for all that we had to be thankful for. We give thanks and praise that we have a new president now. We give thanks and praise for health and prosperity and balance in our lives. And we give thanks and praise for the queen of the day, Miss Bernice Johnson. I'm asking each and everybody to hold their hands out and love the people that are around you, love your family, love your friends, and tell them that you love them and appreciate them now. And I want all of you to go in a good way. Be well, be blessed.
Wonderful. Amen. Thank you. And thank you,
Thank
everyone, again for watching.
thank you.
Tune in next week. Next Thursday, we have Oswald Peterson. He is a choreographer for the Carnival. Yes, the Brazilian Carnival. So come watch him. Thank you again to my sponsors, In Style Performance Wear, All Things Centered, TGI Virtual Fundraiser, Deliverance Travels, and our newest sponsor, That's Entertainment Performing Arts Dance Competition. Thank you, Iega, for coming in and sharing your wonderful thoughts with us. Obadiah, Nasha, Kevin, thank you. BJ, we love you.
We
Till
love
next
you.
time. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
If you
Thank you,
point
Dawn.
that way, you turn that way.
What?
That's right.
Oh,
Look that way, go that way. That's right.
That's right.
you point that way.
Don't worry about right and left.
Love you. Thank you guys.